Hello, me again. Thank you for joining me for another TED Talks Ruby Rocks. We are here this evening to talk about synchronicities and how we sometimes need a leg up and sometimes we are the leg up. Synchronicities and how when we say yes, our life changes and the changes of the people around us. So today, I wanted to tell you that we had our 25th wedding anniversary celebration, and how that all worked out was I had met this lovely person through a person that I know that gave me a leg up, and I asked her if she would celebrate our wedding renewal vows, and she said yes. And so she's a minister with the Peruvian rites. There's other words for that. And that meant a lot to me. So we were really giggling because when I met Benoit, he had just got back from a trip from Peru, and just a month or so after we had our first haircut, and I had met him through a blind haircut through a friend who set us up, and I had said no more blind dates. If he wants to meet me, have him come in. But he didn't even know he needed to meet me, because she was saying, how are you going to meet anybody if all you do is work and you go home at night and then you work at an all women's gym and you go to church? And I said, well, hey, I actually saw this really good looking guy in church, and I described him. And so that's like, this guy that she thought worked with her husband. So she asked her husband, and her husband asked him, and like, do you go to Holy Rosary Church? And my husband's like, yeah, I know, but I can. So he came in for a haircut, and then we kind of like, did our little thing where I pretended I didn't know he was there, why he was there. And he had gone home, and then asked me for a date. And then very next day he asked, we had met up at a nice coffee place, and he had brought his book from Peru. And I had just done a hair show, so I was late, and I was dressed in my crushed velvet shirt with my bell-bottom flower pants, and here I was like having coffee with him, and going through his photo album with Peru, and I was really, really impressed, and like touching him, and this whole thing just like lit up. So something was happening there, and it's funny because he was driving like a green van with the polymer panels, because he was so good with it, planning ahead with what vehicle is going to last. And I thought, are you married? Do you have children? Like, where's the wife? So turns out that 3 months after that, our first date, second date, and he planted this big kiss on the first day. I thought he was holding the door open for me, and I walked into not an open door, but huge kiss. And 3 months later, we were engaged. Three and a half months after that, we were married. We planned our wedding, and everything worked out really well. Things were in the flow. The church was available, and everybody knows why the church was available. It's because it was Spencerville Fair, and nobody books a wedding except for somebody who moves out of town. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. The church is available. And so thank you for whatever, showing up and probably scooting out later to go to the Spencerville Fair. I probably would have too. But so six months or so, then I became pregnant. I was telling my friend Cindy that my pants don't close. She's like, oh, you've been waiting so long to be pregnant, and I said back in the day, I'm like, I'm going to be a single mom. If I can't find a man, I'm getting pregnant and I'm going to be a mother. And it didn't have to, so thank the Lord, because that would have been a whole different story. So when I met Benoit, we did the fertility. This is from Peru, and it's the fertility goddess symbol. And its twins came out of this whole thing. Don't touch this if you don't want to have twins. And so then it turns out when I told her that I was having twins, she realized that I wasn't just making a bunch of crap up. And so back in the ultrasound I was having, and they didn't schedule me enough time for 2 of the measurements for 2 babies. I'm like, well, what am I here for? And she's like, oh, there's some men in the waiting room, and they also have like full bladders, are having an abdominal ultrasound. Do you mind letting them go first? I'm like, yeah, sure. I have nothing else to do but wait. And it's okay. My bladder's full too. And she's like, go pee a cup. I was like, oh my God, I gotta go tell my husband that we're having twins and that there's not something wrong with this pregnancy. So I pee my cup, self-control, and I stop, and I go out with my little dress, and I go out there, and I'm telling him, hey, we're having twins, and he's laughing, and he's making all these jokes, and there's this gentleman sitting there not so impressed because he has a full bladder. I'm like, I do too, and you're the reason why I'm waiting. And so the whole thing happened, and then on our first year anniversary, I am like 6 months pregnant with twins, Actually, no, it was 5 months pregnant. And then we had gone to, we got St. Martin with the 6 months pregnant. We got the go ahead, go have another trip. So for our honeymoon, we had 2 weeks in a really beautiful private island of Cuba. And then in May, we went to Paris, and that's actually where I was pregnant. So I don't know if I was pregnant there or pregnant while I was there, but there was this woman, she was walking towards us, she's looking at me, she's looking, she's glowing, she's laughing, and I'm like, oh my God, Benoit, I think she thinks I'm pregnant. I was. So somehow this woman knew, and she was like smiling at me, and I must have been my belly already, or she could tell something, these French people, I don't know. So then all that happened, and then so years later, we're going on with our whole life, and now we're at our silver wedding anniversary, our jubilee. So I'm wearing my little silver, celebrating our anniversary, and we had this beautiful wedding outside, and it was calling for like 40, and then it jumped to 80% rain, and I had to press through and make sure that, don't worry, we live in the moment. Just, it might be a baptism today, but we're going to do this, and we're married anyway, so it's not like our marriage is not going to happen. This is just renewal. So then, the whole thing with Olivia Newton-John and her like renewing her vows in Peru, and this woman who does this Peruvian rites, and how she's so connected with the Peru and the whole artifacts that she's having, and it's just so nice because we were supporting each other. Like she said yes for me, and this was good for her, and this was good for me, and it all worked out where we're supporting each other. I found a friend, really nice, like somebody that we can work together on this. And just because we knew somebody, and just because we both said yes, and how we connected. So social media is not always a bad thing. There's people that are trying to drop off with social media, but the people I know, and not just here and there, like we connect, we share, we connect, and we're using each other as resources, and we collaborate, and it's just a wonderful thing. My life has opened up quite a bit. And so we were doing our wedding vows, and one of our guests, he actually was born in Peru, and we're all laughing because just the synchronicities of all this happening. And it's just a wonderful thing when you can sit back and just see, that happened, that happened, that happened, that happened, that happened. And so we had our wedding vows, and Benoit being my my safety and my strong arms, and he's also my staff to show me which way I'm going, and he's my rod, the rod and the staff in the Bible, and he's my grounding rod. He never speaks anything, and actually his name in Latin means one who speaks of good. So when anything comes out of his mouth, he's usually very good at pausing and making sure that nothing comes out that's not good. So I thank him for that. And he has been my grounding rod, and I have been his fire. So between the two of us, we had gone through things, and we've gone through things. It's not all like cherries on top of a sundae, but I'm here because I made it. I made it through. I'm not here because I bypassed anything. So if you think I'm here saying the spiritual journey is easy, it's fun. It's not always easy, and it can be delightful. So here we are to celebrate the good points. So if Benoit is my grounding rod, and we made alchemy out of the fire and the iron, and we made steel, we made something really good. And we're not stainless steel. Like I said, our we're here despite of, not because we didn't have any problems. So but together we are here on a journey, and he supports me that I can be out here and be vulnerable and share things with you all that some people might think I'm crazy, and he might think I'm crazy, but we don't talk about that. So if God has given me the gift of research and all of these kinds of things, when I get a hit and I start researching things, it's usually like a real message for somebody else. So my next, well, not my next video, but one of my next videos is going to be about nutrition. It's all connected. It's not like I'm a doctor. It's not like I'm, it's all like I write things down. I research things, and I write things down, and then I put them in a way that hopefully you guys get under 10 minutes, that you guys can find something that actually helps you out. So we actually got to do our wedding dance. Our song for our wedding is Can't Help Falling in Love, and it's Fool's Rush In, which we did. And our wedding song, Dance, which took lessons, got videotaped over from our next reception that we had in Montreal the next day. So today we did a little dance and we had that. It was really nice. And then we went out for dinner and we had champagne and we didn't get rained on, and it was just so beautiful, just so simple and so beautiful. So here I am to share with you that things are great, and that when you say yes, you manage to rally in a whole bunch of other people that if you can support them to say yes, it will pay you back, and they will, everyone gets a beautiful exchange of seeing something else happen for someone else. It's not always just about what you get out of it, it's witnessing what somebody else gets out of it. So, signing off one more time. So, if there's anything that resonates with you, take it or leave it. It's not always for you or for everyone, but please, if there's something you like, so like me, subscribe, share, maybe drop a little line. Don't shun me, don't block me, don't, the whole thing. Thank you all. TED Talks, Ruby Rocks, one more time. Thank you so much. Take care. Signing off. Bye for now.